Good afternoon, everyone. By a show of hands, how many of you would want minimum wage to be increased? Raise your hand. That's everybody. Okay, keep your hands up. Just showing my class that this is my audience. Okay. All right, and that was everybody, right? Except for our manager who makes the big bucks over here. Most people hope and want to get a raise, but is raising minimum wage the best way to go? I've been doing some research on this topic since I transitioned from the military to the civilian side, and topics like this interest me, especially if they involve me. The reasons why they interest me is because I want to know what I'm getting myself into. As far as job-wise and the amount, I will be getting paid every 2 weeks, monthly, and annually to sustain a reasonable living standard. That's, basically what everybody wants, right? There's quite a bit of competition out there, and I'd like to know what I'm up against. Because even with the extensive training that I've had, there's no guarantee of landing your dream job unless you work for it. I'd like to inform all of you guys of 3 reasons why raising minimum wage is not the best option for our economy. I'd like to answer 3 questions for you guys so that you guys can better understand what comes with raising the minimum wage. These 3 questions are: does raising the minimum wage increase employment or unemployment? Can an increase in minimum wage sustain small businesses and the living standards of those earning minimum wage? And 3, would there be more required of that employee if their minimum wage is increased? So the first question, does raising minimum wage increase employment or unemployment? According to some research that I did online, raising the minimum wage from $7.25 to $10.10 would increase economic activity and spur job growth. The $10.10 increase would inject $21.1 billion net income into the economy and create 85,000 new jobs over a 3-year phase. To me, that's not very much, considering the millions of people we have in this country that need jobs. Also, 3 years is quite a long time in my book. That's 28,000 jobs a year. Increasing the minimum wage will force businesses to lay off employees, which would, of course, raise unemployment levels, right? The Congressional Budget Office projected a loss of 500,000. That's more than the 85,000 jobs that will be increased. According to a survey of 1,213 businesses and human resource professionals, 38% of employers who pay minimum wage said they would have to lay off some employees if the wage was raised to $10.10. 54% will also have to decrease hiring levels. All right, now that I've let you in on the fact that raising minimum wage increases unemployment, we can go on to the next question. 2, can minimum wage sustain the living standards of those earning minimum wage? Who believes that? Can minimum wage sustain the living standards of those earning minimum wage if it was increased? Anybody? Okay. If minimum wage increases, guess what? The prices for goods and services will increase as well. Why? Because now you have more money to afford these goods and services, say like getting your nails done or whatever the case may be, something to pamper yourself. If our minimum wage rises, it also rises with other businesses as well. So in order for other employees to pay their employees, the prices for their goods and services will rise too. Make sense? George Reisman, PhD professor emeritus of economics at Pepperdine University, stated, okay, now listen to this. The higher wages are, the higher costs of production are. The higher costs of production are, the higher prices are. The higher prices are, the smaller the quantities of goods and services demanded and the number of employees producing them. Okay, I know I'm getting to a few of you to think whether or not raising minimum wage, will be beneficial for us or not so beneficial. Okay, so here's the next question. Would there be more required of an employee if their minimum wage is increased? You think there would be more required of you guys if our minimum wage was increased? Yeah, I think so. Raising minimum wage would disadvantage low-skilled workers because from an employer's perspective, people with the lowest skill levels cannot justify higher wages. Employers would expect their employees to put forth more effort and expect higher standards of work ethics, meaning the more money you make, the more will be expected of you. Okay, today I've tried to persuade you guys and educate you on the facts of raising minimum wage and how it has more negative outcomes than positive. And as I come to the conclusion of this speech, I look around at all of you and see so much potential. All of you are strong-willed, strong-minded. Don't ever settle for less. Because if minimum wage is increased, the prices in department stores, food chains, grocery stores, etc. will increase as well. And remember that if you choose to have minimum wage increased, then you choose for businesses to reduce the number of jobs available. Would you be willing to risk being laid off in order for minimum wage to be raised? Think about it. Does anybody have any questions?
So do we get raised?
I don't know. That's up to the federal government, Jennifer.
Again and put your hands down.
Anybody besides Jennifer? No?
No, I changed my mind.
You changed your mind about
No, she's about even more.
minimum wage? All right. Well, that's the end of my speech. So everyone have a good day.